You know I love Christmas, and over the last few years, we have spent nearly $10,000 on Christmas cakes alone. And today we're just gonna relook back at all of them, figure out which one was most worth it for its price tag, which one I absolutely love, and pick my top 3 favorite Christmas cakes of all time. Let's look at the first one. I can't remember the prices of everything. We're starting with the cheapest cake we've ever ordered up to the most expensive cake we've ever ordered. This is the first tier. Now I remember this. It was just this basic white cake with some ornaments on top. And I remember we started off with a pretty good budget. We didn't start off with like a $50 budget. So I know that this was like expensive for what it was, but the shimmer on the cake had this crusted, snowy, like crystally shimmer on it. It was so pretty. And then the ornaments, I mean, I have a hard time with chocolate. I really, really do. So I have some appreciation for like some perfect little spheres. I love that they weren't just all the same color or all the same size. Having a few different sizes of decorations on top of a cake, it brings it together. So I think even though it's a really simple cake, they did a pretty good job. I just feel like maybe there should have been a little bit more. Maybe something like along the bottom of the cake, because it's really just like white onto the white cake board. It's just a little simple, I think, for its dollar point. But what was the price tag?
It was $300.
It was not.
It was $300.
No, I thought it was $200.
No, it was $300.
I knew it was really expensive. I knew when I saw this cake, I was like, what the actual... Because it's a basic cake for $300, and that's where it goes wrong. Because if I paid $80 for this cake, for like a gourmet cake with really beautiful like high-end decorations on it, but a small cake, I'd be like, okay, cool. That's a lot of money. I would say this one was not worth it. Not worth it for its price point. The second cake. I had an almost internal panic when the second cake came out. I remember, because it's also a white, small, shimmery cake with a decoration on top. And I was like, oh my God, I planned so much for this video. I spent $900 on cakes, and are they all just gonna be these really basic cakes? And I was also surprised again by the price point. But let's talk about this one, because this one has a lot more skill to it than the last one. This one has this beautiful stag on top. The carving and the skill level and the gold antlers, like immediately, like when you think of a basic round cake and you think, what could I do to really level this up because they don't need a lot of servings? It's white on white, it's very chic. I'm not a chic person, but at the same time, I have some appreciation with how beautiful this is, because it really is beautiful. And the gold is 10 times better than them just doing like some brown antlers or something, you know what I mean? But the carving is beautiful. I don't know that I would have been able to do carving like that. There's definitely some skill there, and I did love that. But again, is it worth the $300 because it's just a basic white cake that is shimmery? And you've got a board covered in fondant. The first board was not covered in fondant. Just give me a basic cake board. This one's covered in fondant. It has the ribbon. You've got the stake that was a little bit tilting back and forth. You've got this really pretty wreath around it and the bow. I think there's still some more details that they could have put in to make it more worth it for its dollar point, if we're being real. Like the leaves are a basic green color. They don't have any color dust or anything on them. There's no like super impression to give them a lot of dimension. So I think that there's things like that that maybe they could have incorporated to make it really more pop, because you're paying $300 for a small Christmas cake. You really want to be like, oh my God, this is amazing. So the third cake, I remember, so this cake, we've got a small round cake again. All 3 cakes I got this year were just like a small 6-inch or 8-inch cake, but we got Santa putting the Christmas presents underneath the Christmas tree with Santa's butt crack. This is my aesthetic. When we talk about like chic or just like white and plain and fancy not being me, this is me. The humor, the storytelling, the drunken reindeer with the cookie and the spilt milk are just like, yes. All of it, yes. And they even had these like cute little Santa snowy footprints. I remember one Christmas I came out as a kid and I saw Santa's snowy footprints all over the living room leading up to the tree, and all of our carrots were like half bitten. It was so magical. So for me, this cake brought me back to those like really cute moments, but with some like just humor and cuteness, and there's detail galore. I mean, look at all the cobblestone. You've got the board covered in fondant, but it also has like a wooden impression texture. You've got little cookies and cookies with bites out of them, little plates, little skin, like all of the details that are on this, and the skill level. If you look at Santa's face, the skill level with all the painting and the carving and putting that fondant figure together, that would have taken a lot of time. So I appreciate, even though it's small, they were like, what more details, what more details, what more details. So worth it for $300? I don't know. I mean, it's a high detail cake, right? That would take a lot of time. $300 still seems like a bit much for a round cake with just details. When you look at a cake and you think if it's worth it for its price tag, you look a lot of the times at its size and you're like, that's not what it's worth. But I think for all the handmade details, if it's not worth $300, I feel like it's close to. It's close enough that I wouldn't be upset as a customer. Whereas the first two, I'd be like, oh my God, I feel a little robbed, just a tiny bit. I'm guessing here we're moving on to the second tier of pricing, which I can't remember how much we went up in prices, but let's go. Oh my God, okay. The second year, I was so terrified that I was gonna get just round cakes again. I'm like, do anything but a round cake. Give me a 3D carved some sort of cake. I don't care what it is, just do something insane. Because I really didn't want just more round cakes with some decorations on it. And did they deliver? So this first cake, we have a fireplace with a Christmas tree, with a house, and then a snow globe. It is like almost a topsy-turvy, gravity-defying, crazy cake with an insane amount of details. When you think about the glimmer of the snow, or the little box underneath the Christmas tree with everything, the snow globe and the little decorations that are inside of it, even around the details of the fireplace and the side of it and the side of the house, and a moment for that perfect door, that perfect Christmas door. For Christmas time, I just want to paint my door red so it looks like this because it's so pretty. But you also have to think about the fact that this is like a gravity-defying structured cake. There are so many elements that could go wrong. They would have to really work hard at structuring this cake. That is time consuming. There's a house on a Christmas tree, people. That needs to be taken into consideration. So what was the price point for this one?
$500.
$500. Compared to what we got for $300, so insanely worth it for its price point. When we think of it like $200 more and like, holy crap, what we got. If I wasn't gonna take other cakes into consideration, I was just gonna look at the cake for $500, I would still say, yeah, it was worth it for its price point because that cake was a centerpiece. You put that in the middle of a party, no matter what angle you looked at it, it would be amazing. Let's look at the next one. Oh, the truck, the Christmas tree truck with the little presents in the back, and it had headlights that lit up. It has this cute little license plate at the back. The details in this was fulfilling my Christmas wishes and dreams. I just wanted so desperately a big carved kind of 3D shape of something, and this had that. The tree in the background with the snow so delicately falling on it, all the details, and you've got to remember, like, this is totally carved in 3D and so cool with a little wreath on the front. This cake is screaming Christmas. From the side profile, you can see underneath the cake. They had this cake hovering off of the cake board on its wheels. So you can like slide your hand and look underneath. Very impressive. And this one was $500 as well?
Yep.
Worth it. Blow me away. I already know. Okay, we haven't seen all of the cakes yet. I already know this one's top 3 because I am a Grinch person. This cake. Oh, so we've got the Grinch in the Grinch cave with the Grinch standing on top of the mountain, holding a sleigh above his head with a card figure of him and Max. And it's just the details in this, like they even got the Grinch gut. You know what I mean? And look inside the sleigh with the little gears and the little heart thing. Like, it's actually insane the amount of like effort and details that went into this. That sack of gifts. It's easy with something like that to like make it just look round. But no, they've got it like actually lumps, like as if there's like gifts inside of this big bag with the string tied around it. Like they really thought about all of those details and aspects, and I have a lot of appreciation for that. They've stumped me on the icicles. I genuinely have no idea how they did the icicles. Oh, Archie's in the background. I have no idea how she did the icicles. They blow my mind. When you look at this cake as a whole, Holy crap. Also, I should say that sleigh, I remember, it was like handmade, wasn't it?
Yeah, the skis were like actual metal.
They were
like, yeah, it was
actual,
pretty
like,
impressive.
Bent metal that they then suspended everything on top of. I don't know who is making these things. This is not just cake decorating skills. Like, this is engineering skills. Was this the same year?
Yes, this is also $500
This
cake.
is 500. Not worth it for its price point. This to me is not a $500 cake. This to me is like a $1,000 cake. I think that when you give bakers some creative freedom, some bakers run with it and make their dream cakes. And I think that's what happened here. This blew my mind. The mechanical year. Okay, so the next year, the next tier of cakes, I asked them to incorporate some mechanical components. This could be music, this could be moving, this could be lights, this could be anything under the stars that they could think of. And really this came from, what was that show that we watched on Netflix? I watched an episode of that. I'm like, can you make me one? Can everybody just engineer and cake for me? So we've got a flying reindeer over the North Pole. This cake lit up, but you have a literal Santa sleigh with his reindeer flying circles around. And then on the cake board, they could have just left it a simple cake board, but they did like everyone's like Christmas Eve or Christmas morning. Like, so it was like little stories, and you've got the little North Pole letterbox. Can you see the glimmer in the tree? That was a candy tree. No, they didn't just make a buttercream tree. They didn't just buy a tree from the dollar store to stick it on. They made an actual candy tree. Honestly, next level. And they even thought of like the battery pack that lit up the lights at the back of the cake. They surrounded that in like little fondant bricks, so you can't really see it, so it doesn't take away from the design, and I love that they did that. What was this price point?
This one was $700.
700. We're getting a little steep now. I mean, 700 is no joke. That is a lot of money for a cake, but the mechanical components need to be considered. To like design and find those components and work them into the cake is so challenging, and it levels up the cake so much. It is a big cake. It is a 3D cake. It has a lot of details. It tells a story, and it has moving and lighting mechanical components. So I think $700 is still a lot, but I do feel like it is kind of worth it. This one, oh my goodness, a 3D Santa with a spinning Christmas tree, and you can't hear it, but this Christmas tree makes music with all the decorations and the lights. And you've got this like little dresser in front of him. And for the longest time, I was staring at the cake and all I could see was the details of the tree and the Santa. And I couldn't understand why there was a dresser in front of him. I felt like, why would you go through all this effort to make this dresser to just like put it in front of him when it really didn't need that? Not that it like takes away, but like, why? And then I realized it is not a dresser, it is a cookie making station. I feel like there could have been some more details because it does kind of look like a dresser and just has some candy canes on top, but he's got like a gingerbread cookie that he's kind of holding and stuff. So I feel like if we had some like flour or a rolling pin or cookie cutter or something like that, that would have brought it together. But I think it's supposed to be like a cookie decorating station. The texture on that Christmas tree, I'm not sure what they made it out of. I feel like we figured out it was cake chunks to look like sponge or something, but I've never seen a Christmas tree with that kind of texture, and it was really interesting. And the Santa was the coolest. The only thing with Santa is he got a little bit scary at the end. I think they use cotton candy for his hair and beard. And the issue with cotton candy is when it's not sealed in a tube, it deflates and gets kind of weird and holy looking. Yeah, and that's kind of what we have here. And it's really too bad because this would have looked stunning. And I get why they use cotton candy because they wanted to make it look really fluffy. It just wasn't the type of material that could stand up. So I feel like that was a bad choice because you want a cake to look good over a period of time, not just for 10 minutes. And that's where you've got with cotton candy. But aside from that, as a baker, I have such appreciation for like the cuteness of this cake and the details put into it and the thought process of here's Santa and here's a Christmas tree, but he's also a baker. You know what I mean? Was it also $700?
Yeah, $700.
$700. I'm gonna say worth it because you've got a 3D carved Santa. Think of the proportions. Think of what would be cake. Think about structuring all those elements and the texture of the tree and the mechanical components. It's really cool. So worth it for its price point. Not top 3, but memorable and one of my favorites. This one, the drunken reindeer in the hot tub. The hot tub, people. I mean, You've got the smoke bubbling around him. Like, this literally blew my mind because nowhere on the internet, when I looked up mechanical components in cake, did I see anybody using something like steam. And really, I think it's just like a humidifier, right? That is so clever to think about. I'm gonna hook up these tubes in this humidifier that he's gonna be in this hot tub and it's gonna be bubbling out. And then you've got the story of it. You've got the calendar marking out that it is December 26th, vacation time. That means the reindeer can have all of the rain beer that he wants and hang out in the hot tub with his little candy cane ladder to get in. And it's just the details and the story of this I love. There's so much thought and detail that goes into this. This is someone who loves their job. Blown away, top tier, one of my favorites, might be top 3. Nothing that they could have done differently because it literally blew my mind.
I think one of the details that we missed was the color of his nose. He's not just any reindeer.
Oh, he's Rudolph. Oh my goodness. He has Rudolph slippers. And they had a card attached to the back of the cake. So it was making a little music for him to have his vacation too. Amazing. This is $700. Blow me away. So worth it for its price point. The next tier are the most recent ones we've done, so they're a little bit fresh in my mind, but I was so obsessed with mechanical components, I was like, do it again, baby. Let's have more. And wow, did they deliver. This is a Santa Carousel Wonderland theme. It's like a Christmas fair, and I loved the mechanical components. It was doing music. The thing was spinning around. You had a train go around it. It had lights, and then the top was spinning. There was like 5 different mechanical components to this thing. How much time and thought and planning would have to go into 5 mechanical components? And the hand-painted details. I think they did like a little bit of a cheat with the hand-painted details. I think they used an edible image and then painted some details on top of it, which, like, high five on the cheat, because you get the results you're looking for without having to put all the time in. The only thing is, I wish I saw more of those hand-painted details going around the entire cake. But this cake is a centerpiece. This cake is amazing. The mechanical components of it really blew me away. I love that it was just like, what more can we do to make this like fun and festive? Very, very cool. And this one was $800, correct?
Yep.
So $800, worth it. I feel like, especially comparing what we just got with other mechanical components, they did so many, and it's a crazy, like, multiple tiered, insane cake. The next one, this was a tall boy. The color profile on this, I love. Less mechanical components with this one. We basically have a mechanical component just spinning around the top of his head, but still very cool. And all of the 3D carved elements and details in this. And can we have a moment for that bell glitter? I don't know what it's made out of. I still need to figure that out. But it's so gorgeous, and I've never seen edible glitter like that. I really think they nailed a lot of components of this, and I can have so much appreciation into how much work would go into structuring a cake like this. It would have taken so much time, and they didn't skip on the details. So very cool, and $800, worth it. The only thing about this cake that I would say that they could have improved on was where they put the switch. It was just kind of dangling off the back of his head. I feel like if they kind of push that in the cake somewhere or try to like hide it a little bit more, still visible so you can still press the button, but more hidden, I feel like that would have helped with the magic of it, but it's such a minor detail because it's such a magical cake and it's literally just a button. Like, it's not a biggie. I am trying to mentally prepare myself for the next cake because I know what's coming. This cake, if you watch the main video of this that we uploaded a couple weeks ago, you will see some very emotional moments in it. I'm not gonna repeat everything because I've decided I'm not crying today. But this cake is so magical and wonderful. The personal details of it, they have our picture frame, they have our stockings, stuffed with cash. I don't know who's doing those kind of stockings, but I feel like I've been robbed and I deserve a stocking like that. So somebody, Santa or otherwise, needs to step up. But the gifts too, with the little custom wrapping, and my gift is the biggest. And then we've got the Archie stocking with the little toy bone and the little balls and everything. Like, it's just so thought out. But it's not just the personal details that make this such a great cake for us, because it is. This cake for us is such a special moment cake and one we will never forget. But also just the details in general, they went overboard and made this like super magical Christmas Eve moment with your stockings hung, with your gifts, with the picture frame on the mantle. And I just think it's like, and the little cards and stuff. And they even have writing on the inside. I didn't realize they had writing on the inside of the cards.
Oh, you didn't even see that?
No, I never saw that. Who does that? I'm sorry. Who has the thought process to be like, I'm gonna print the inside of the cards, even though they're basically closed and you're not really gonna see them, just so there's the detail. Somebody loves their job. And the fireplace, it's like the reindeer, right? The smoke coming out blew my mind. It's something I would never have thought of. And this, you have the fireplace that lights up, then you've got the edible flames, but also it had smoke coming out of it and that was scented like cinnamon. So this one, I mean, $800, all the details and like the personal aspect, just so worth it for its flower point. Next tier?
Yeah, so this next year, we did a 1 versus 5 star bakery video.
1 versus 5-star bakery. So they're given the same budget, but they just have different reviews from the bakeries. In this video, we have gone from lowest tier price point to highest tier price point, but this cake should be near the beginning of the video based on how it looks and what they gave me. I mean, we know the last cake was $700, so we know this was at least $700 or more. And looking at it, this is not a $700 cake. I think only a third of it was cake. The tree it's all buttercream. They could have done something more skill-based, like buttercream's delicious. When you think of a high detail cake, like piping a bunch of like buttercream on a cake isn't high detail. It's not what you think about for the price point. And the gifts, I mean, we could have done an edible paper, wrapping paper, and done more details with a bow or other things underneath the Christmas tree. They could have made a little rocking horse and put a little rocking horse underneath the tree. They could have put lights on it easily. They could have made little handmade toys underneath it easily. They could have made these gifts and had a lot more details. So is it a very pretty cake and a somewhat well done cake? Yeah, sure. But it's definitely not worth $700 plus. But what was the price point? Kevin.
$1,000.
It was not $1,000. I have a terrible memory and I thought it was $800.
Yeah.
It was not $800.
It was not $800, it was $1,000. The bakery happily took our money for it.
They definitely happily took our $1,000. When you look at star ratings on bakeries and places, sometimes you get what not you paid for, but like be wary of like the stars, because we knew what we were getting into, that we knew that like it's a 1-star bakery. We're probably not going to get as detailed or extravagant as a cake, but I was very shocked that they took our money and were like, here's your cake. And we're totally fine with that. Like slight robbery, just a little bit. So the next cake was also $1,000. Okay,
yes.
When you compare this price points, we have DJ Santa. All of the details of this are insane. The spinning things, the lights, the disco balls, definitely like top favorite cake. I still like, I'm getting a little overwhelmed by the top favorites. Can't remember all of them I said now because this is insane. Look at all the details on the hand carving of the reindeer. Not the reindeer, the elf. I have a lot of appreciation for all of the details and thoughts that would have gone into this. And I feel like it's, hey, let's make a DJ Santa. He should wear sunglasses. Well, they should also be candy cane sunglasses. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's so much fun thought that went into all of this. And I love it. The only thing about it is that they attached some of the details to the back of the cake, to this like kind of backboard that was on the cake, and then the cake was sitting front. So when it was moving, the hat kind of disconnected a little bit. So that sucks, but it's really not that big of a deal. I think it was just one of those oversight moments that they should have attached the pom-pom to his actual hat, so that wouldn't have happened. As our most expensive cake, an insane cake for $1,000, and I feel like so worth it for its price point. I don't know what the top 3 are. I mean, this one stands out, the reindeer stands out, the Grinch stands out, and the fireplace stands out. I feel like those are top 4, and I don't want to lose one. What would you say? What would you say? You be the bad guy. Is your top 4 the same as my top 4?
Yeah, I think so. I would just do top 4. I wouldn't even tell on her.
No, we're eliminated.
No.
We're doing top 4, but I want to know, what's your number 1? What's your top 3 or top 4? Do you think they're all worth it for this dollar point? I feel like the most shocking one for its dollar point was definitely that $1-star $1,000 cake. Like, holy crap. And the first one, like $300 for just that little one. But then a lot of these were so worth it for its dollar point. It was really fun reflecting on all of these cakes. Let me know if you want to see more videos of us reacting to different cakes. While we're gone, if you're looking for some extra content, we have lots of stuff posted across social media and on our members page. I'm gonna leave a link down below for our members channel if you guys want to sign up. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. We are gone now for Christmas break, but we will see you in the new year. I love you.